What are some of your go-to plugins? What is like your main you must have plugin?
I to be honest, like I really work a lot more with audio than I do with plugins. So I don't have like one where like I go to it for every melody, like because usually I'm either starting from scratch in terms of like recording guitar and vocals, or I'm using a sample. But actually, as I say that, I don't have a go-to like sound plugin, but retro color by fuck, I don't remember who makes it, but everyone know, if you're a producer, you know what retro color is. But it's like just a plugin that makes shit sound like exactly what it sounds like, makes it sound retro, makes it sound like, gives it like that texture or whatever. And I
Okay.
use that on like literally everything. It's like the best plugin ever. So
Okay.
retro color.
You do your own mixing, mastering, or anything like that?
Yep, for the most part, I do my own mixing. If I'm doing a record for like an artist, they might have it mixed depending on who it is.
Right.
And then usually my stuff now that I'm on a label gets mastered in house, so I don't do that.
Right.
And then anything I produce for other people also gets mastered, not by me, but I do a lot of the mix for a lot of records I'm involved in.
Okay. All right. We'll get into the label stuff in a bit. We're gonna
Yes,
definitely get to
sir.
that. Um, Now I mentioned plugins. Is there any other sauce to your creation that the average producer might not be familiar with? Every producer kind of has their own little way of doing things that's just a little
Right.
unique to them. What is some like mixing or mastering or production little tidbits that are just unique to Sarcastic Sound?
I would say this isn't like necessarily unique, like inherently, but I think that I have way more expansive drum library than most people do. And I know my drum library really well. And I think that it like having such like a diverse like range of drums, and this is something that probably like the number one thing that other producers comment on about my beats is always the drums. Um, and I think that just like constantly looking for new and cool sounds and stuff and not just going back to your your standard whatever kit that you use is like super important, especially for hip hop, just
Right.
because it's such like a drum based genre. So yeah, that's not specific to me necessarily, but just I would say that's one of the most important things for when I'm making beats.
Okay, that's probably one reason you're gonna stick to FL. A lot of people who
Yeah.
like Ableton, the one reason they like if they were to choose FL over Ableton, it usually comes down to the drums, from what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
That's usually the determining factor why people just say, "Nah, I love Ableton, it's great, but the drums on FL just
The
knock
drums hit.
differently."
Yeah. And you know what's funny is I use FL Studio 11, which is like 4 versions back,
Wow.
because I've heard that it's because I'm used to the layout, but also because I've heard that it sounds better. The drums knock harder in
Okay.
FL Studio 11. So I can't risk
Right.
losing any of that.